You killing me?
And we are on the air, gentlemen.
Hey, welcome to YouTube Model Builders Live Show for February 21st, 2015 on a cold, except for maybe for Vinny. But it's cold. It's snowing here in New York City on the Eastern Seaboard. So we welcome all of you in the YouTube Model Builders community to the show tonight. We got a real good show tonight, don't we, Barry?
Yes, we do, Bill.
We do. Tonight's theme is on structures. Structures, plastic structures, out-of-the-box structures, Walter, kits, cornerstone, scratch building, wood, styrene, whatever it is that puts a structure together on your layout, we got it. And we got the panelists from beyond. We got Geno from Central Valley Railroad, HO scale. We have Vinny from his N scale BNSF P-Vine sub, and everybody knows Vinny from his Vinny's builds and his YouTube channel, as well as Geno. I forgot to mention that. Geno, his YouTube channel and his Central Valley, I should say. I should know that, right, Geno? Because I'm the mayor of that.
That's right.
It's Central City, Bill.
I have hat sales on there, too.
Central City, I'm sorry.
I'm going to sell you a hat.
I know, but you know what's happening is the payola checks aren't coming on a timely basis.
I'll work on that.
And also we have on board is ModelerManMike. Welcome back, Mike, to the show. And it's nice to have you. I know you're all settled in and up there in Korea, right? North Korea?
No, it's South Korea. I wouldn't be here with you if I was in North Korea.
And we have Ron, our friend from the north, our neighbor from the north, Canada. Ron has a new website. Actually, it's not a new website. The website has been back up. The Modelers Guild. He had an unfortunate incident was it this past year or last year, Ron?
Last year, August.
Last year, August, he got hacked and they destroyed his the Modeler Guild website. So he's been in the process of rebuilding, and it's now up and running. And it's the Modeler Guild's website, and it's a pretty nice, pretty good website, very informative. And Ron is a premier builder, scratch builder, that he's working on a lot of stuff. Anybody who's seen his YouTube channel and YouTube videos he's a pretty eclectic kind of guy, and he's very knowledgeable when it comes to structures. And of course, we have my good friend Barry, who's in the presence of presently building his S-scale Lionel. And there we go. One of Barry's many fans. The call-in show now. So with that said, and where are we? So we're asking, as many of you, if you're new to the show, you'll see this is a Q&A. It's generated by Q&A, and we'd like for you guys to enter in questions that you have for our panelists in regards to structures, or if there's any other general questions on model railroading, other than any advice on love or anything else. Save that for Barry for after the show. We'll take those separately. But just during the show, if we could just, model railroading and stuff like that, be free to ask anything, and we'll get to your questions as quickly as we can. And just so that you know, just a heads up, if you'll see the Q&A, you'll see there's a number next under the question. That number generates, if a lot of people like it, that question, and they wanted to ask that same question, they'll click that, and it will, add 5, 6, and it will propel it to the top. So, just be aware of that. And don't be afraid to ask a question, because we want you guys to definitely enjoy the show and get involved in the show and ask our panelists, because these guys are pretty knowledgeable guys, and we picked a good panelist of guests tonight to help us move along here. And we're also, what are we doing also? We're doing giveaways again, aren't we?
Yes, we are, Bill. And
could we have those giveaways so that the people out there know what we're... Because that's what you guys really show up for. You don't show up to see these guys. You show up for the giveaways. We know.
Yeah. Yeah. Bill. without his name tag.
I'm working on it. Oh, look, we got an inbox. We got
Here
something.
we go, guys. Here's all of our goodies that we have going on right now. Our eMag, our Hangouts, and the live show we're viewing here. And our
In the
first...
Hangouts, just so you know, dude's really talking those Hangouts up in the
Oh,
Q&A.
absolutely.
Thanks, dude.
So here we have the Central Valley Punch Plate Bridge Kit from Central Valley Model Works. This is our first giveaway. And then we're having a road striping kit from our friend John Howard at highwaysandbyways.com. And if anybody's seen any of this stuff on Geno's layout and various others, beautiful stuff. And our friend Bob Lacey from Long Shadow Model Trees is giving away 4 birch trees that are handmade by him and his staff, either Ancho or N-Scale. And new this month, thanks to our buddy ModelerManMike, Mike, we have from Walter's Cornerstone the Railroad Aggregate Transfer and the Seedmaster Transload Crew to go with it. And we want to give a special shout out to packcomputer.com. And Paul there has been instrumental in helping Mike to get our new YouTube Model Builders website up and running. So just a shout out to our friend Paul, who's been great.
Can I say something on that one? Do you mind?
Go ahead, Mike.
You know, I know that Paul's been involved with YouTube Model Builders since its inception, and he's really been helpful with a lot of the web stuff, and we've simply overlooked him many times, and this, you know, we just wanted to reach out and say, hey, thanks, Paul. We appreciate everything you're doing, and what a super nice guy. And if you guys are interested in putting up a website or something, please contact him, because he really has helped a lot in what we do for the model railroading community. And he's been in the background, and I hope that with this mention here that maybe he'll get a little bit of business. So sorry about that, Barry. I don't mean to interrupt.
No problem, Mike. And then later on, we'll go over how to get to the live show giveaway form on YouTubeModelBuilders.com. So we should be going good here now.
And just so you guys know, there's a lot of things going on before we get into this show. There's a lot of things going on in the YouTube Model Builders community. We have YouTube eMag that comes out on a bi-monthly series, and the next is coming out in March. And if any of you people, any of you guys, any gentlemen, ladies out there are interested in contributing to the e-magazine, an article on anything that you're working on, a YouTube related video that you did, or you just, you know, you want to share something, we definitely encourage you to reach out and you know, and to our man JD Login Logos, who's the editor in charge of that, and he would be more than happy to direct you on what you could do. And also on the Tuesday nights, we have Tuesday night hangouts on Google Plus, where we have presentations. Recently, our friend Barry did a presentation on DCC. I think it was a 3-parter. Is that correct, Barry?
Yes, it was absolutely. We did it the last 3 Tuesdays.
And then on Thursdays, we have a general hangout on the Google Plus Hangouts, and that's also very informative and interesting to do.
And that's done by Johnny, our good friend Johnny.
Right, Johnny, Southeast Rails, Southwest, Southern Rails, I believe.
Southeast
Rails.
Southeast Rails, and you can find this all on www.YouTubeModelBuilders.com. If you go to that, you'll see the link, and you'll see all the information there to submit your story, to get involved, and we're always looking. And if you want to be a future guest on our show, please look at the criteria. Also, you'll see YouTube Model Builders live show, and the panelists sign up, and we're always looking for people. So please don't hesitate to get yourself involved, because that's what we want to do. We want to share this wonderful hobby, and we want to share it with everybody here. So let's get started. Let me see. This is from Jimmy, Michigan. My brother Jimmy, Michigan. My man. When scratch building in HO, what thickness styrene is best for the walls, roof, 60, 40, etc.? Vinny, you're a styrene guy.
I would go with 40,000s for the walls to make it sturdy and stiff.
Why is that, Vin?
It's a lot more stout, stiffer plastic.
And you want that rigidity?
Yeah, of course you want rigidity because you don't want the building to be doing this when you put it together. So you want it to be pretty solid.
Let me say something on that one, because this is something I get asked too. The same thing, and I'm not a major scratch builder. I mean, I've built a lot of things, but realistically, you can use whatever thickness you want. I mean, as long as it's not too thin. Just along like Vinny's saying, it has to have some structural. You know, it has to be able to hold itself up structurally. So, but like using signs like Vinny does, and I do as well. I use a lot of signs like 4-cell signs and stuff like that because they're so cheap. But ultimately, when you get it together, I mean, you don't see the thickness of this if it's built right, you know. So, if you put the corners together correctly and stuff, so I think overall, the details are what's gonna make it look nice, I think. So
exactly, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
And on those signs, getting back on those signs, I found that the handicap signs are the best ones to do because they are thicker than the no parking signs.
oh,
What signs are those, Vinny?
The handicap.
Oh, those are the ones you can purchase in a local hardware store, correct?
Yeah, Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever you got in your town.
yeah, that's all styrene. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great
it's all
for scratch building plastic. Yeah.
The handicap is probably at least 30,000s, if not 40,000s.
Oh, okay. All right. So let me direct this question to Ron. Ron, when you're working in, because your forte, your expertise is in scratch build, and it seems that you I don't know, whatever you have that Midas touch, whatever you seem to touch, it's just like boom. When working with wood, is there any kind of specialty that I know that one time me and you talked and you gave me some good advice about pre-treating the wood so it doesn't warp.
You gotta brace it. Always gotta brace wood in the back. It's kind of like what Mike said about the signs. You know, it's how you detail it on the outside, which makes it look good. You know, on the inside usually looks pretty ugly. So.
Yeah,
I can vouch for that.
that's right.
Wood has a tendency to soak in a lot of moisture and can deform if it's really dry. And usually modelers are modeling in the winter, and up here in Canada, you know, we all got our stoves running and stuff like that, so everything's real dry. So if you don't brace your wood, it'll deform and warp and do all kinds of crazy things. You know, which is, you know, maybe that might be what you're looking for sometimes. So.
Okay, so if it does warp, is there a way to get it back to its natural shape, or is it now garbage?
You know, it's not. It's salvageable in the way that, you know, you can always hide it. You know, it's not going to look like the other walls. You know, if it's I don't know. I don't know. That's a hard question because if you dry the wood back, it will shrink back up. It'll never look square again.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's just good advice. It's a good rule of thumb to always brace up your wood.
Oh, that makes sense.
I have a question then, Ron. I mean, if you're painting wood, not so much if you're staining it, but if you're painting it, could you use something like sanding sealer to help seal the wood so it doesn't soak up as much moisture? Have you ever tried that?
Well, I'm going to make a guess at what you're painting the wood with. is water-based acrylics.
Right.
So you're gonna pound that wood with water, basically. So, you know, those things would decrease the soaking of the water, but I can guarantee you that it's not going to do what a nice cross-grain glue is going to do, you know, as bracing.
Right. Well, good point. Good point.
You know, I have up there, this is a picture of a wood structure made from balsa wood and cardboard. And just kind of going back to what I was saying about the thickness, if you look like the window in the top left, the thickness underneath the brace on the window is kind of thick. It's not like scale. And so what I'm showing here is all of the pieces that you're seeing around this are really pretty thick, but you can't tell that because it's all on the inside. And kind of touching on what Ron's talking about, I totally agree that like this structure was done completely with water-based acrylics. I had this thing soaking wet. I mean, it was dripping wet, you know, whenever I was working on it with paint and everything. So once you get that and it's all put together, once you get everything painted in the way you want it, then you just seal it with a sealer. You know, like some dull coat, or I've heard of people using hairspray, something with lacquer in it. Dull coat's nice because it doesn't make a shine, but this will seal it so that no moisture gets in and starts destroying the structure later.
Good point. Good point. Here we got a question for Dude. Hey, Dude. So this question is for Vinny. When Scratch built, how do you come up with the dimensions and scale sizes for the building or structures you're building?
Well, most of my buildings on my layout are prototype, and I have the advantage of going to the actual building and looking at it. And the way I get my sizes, if there's any freight cars sitting alongside the building, that's how I get the length of the building. And as far as the front of the building goes, I make it look aesthetically pleasing to be dimensionally correct.
Now, another trick you can use, Vinny, is always assume that like our regular 36-inch door is 80 inches tall. And, you know, take a photograph and scale it from there. I even have a program on my iPad, I think it's called Multi-Measure. If you put a picture in it and set a reference point between two markers and tell it that's X inches, then you can pick multiple points and it'll tell you what the dimensions are. So it's great for doing architectural models and stuff like that.
Can you email me the address to that?
Yeah, I'll let y'all get you the information on it, Ron.
Awesome.
Hey Geno, you on your Central Valley Railroad, you've been doing a lot of resin kits.
Yes.
Did I
go ahead.
And how are they different from the wood and the plastic?
Well, basically, they're a lot more fragile. You have to be a lot more careful when you're putting these things together because they tend to break easily. And when you're staining them or putting your color on them, I would, put you a good base coat before you start painting, so it doesn't actually soak in or you're stuck with one color.
It absorbs. It's like a. It's like a.
Like a sponge.
Yeah, yeah. I noticed that with that. I did one resin kit, and what I did was I lightly coated it with a primer before I painted. So that seemed to be a good choice. How do you like working with them? As far as there's not real much flexibility in that.
No, I mean, there's not much you can do as far as to physically change it. But I really like the kits. The finished product really turns out good. I like the way they go together. I like a lot of the details are already there for you as far as the Art Deco stuff. And all you have to do is stain it and put it together.
You don't use, when putting a resin kit together, you're not using regular glue, correct? Do you use an epoxy type glue?
I use super glue with mine. I've had no trouble with it whatsoever.
Uh-huh. Good.
If I can get
You use like a
picture up here.
thicker glue for that, Gene?
Do what now?
You use like a thicker, like a gel type?
I use the gel. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, just the gel.
That's Dude, Linda has a question for ModelerManMike. So
Hey.
why have we not seen any videos from ModelerManMike for over a year?
Oh, see, you know, I answered this in Hangouts, and here you are bringing me up on the soapbox. You guys know I've been working on a lot of this stuff with these guys, and I've recently moved, and I know that it's time for another video. But every day I get up, and there's always something new to play with here, and talk to guys on Hangouts, and I don't know. You know how it is. You get on a Hangout, and you can spend 4 or 5 hours in there just talking about model railroading when you should be using that time to make a video. So I'm guilty of that. So, but I hope to get something out soon. I say soon. How soon is soon? I don't know, but hopefully whenever I get things cleaned up and get settled in here, I'll be able to get that done. Sorry about that, dude.
Hey, David Cole says, and this may be a good question for all of you, but maybe for Ron, because we were just talking about it. I'm building a Webster Classic model engine house. Well, where'd it go? I'm building a Webster Classic model engine house and brace the long walls top and bottom with the 6x6. I primed them and kept them flat, but they still bowed. How can I get them back straight?
That's tough. That's tough. You gotta have something with an edge on it. Like if your board was like a 2x4, putting it on the 2-inch edge, the 4-inch width would keep it from bowing on you. But that's the thing with square stock wood. It'll bend. It'll get a nice gradual bend if the wall's around 12 inches or bigger. You know, it'll just bend on its own with dryness. So I don't know. That's a tough question to answer. It's just something you have to do at the bench. Sometimes you just have to put another piece of wood on. If it's the inside of the model, go for it. That's my advice.
Yeah, what he might need to do is put, when he mounts the, because it is an engine house, when he mounts.
Yeah, I think you're stuck on me, Barry. I think you've got me presented. I think everybody's watching me, so.
Okay, there we go.
We didn't see Ron. I'd like to see Ron. There we go.
Yes, I mean he could put some vertical bracing in the engine house and put it down into the base of the building, and then that way we can maybe draw the ends in a little bit anyway. It might help. And then when he glues the roof supports in, that might help too. But it's always going to have a little blow, it's possibly too.
Sometimes that's the character of the building, just wanting to come out.
Yeah,
something that happens on that, and I'm guessing this is probably what's happened there, is that when you build one, and I build a lot of stuff out of balsa wood, which is really light, and it absorbs a lot of moisture. And what I've found that happens is whenever you build one, and if you don't get it finished up in a good manner of time and get it sealed and everything, you can actually make like a roof. And even if you have supports in there, and if it collects a lot of moisture over time, the wood actually expands and causes that bowing. So what you can do is try and dry it out. Dry it, I'm not saying put it in the oven at 500, but maybe put it in there at 100 degrees. Let it sit there for a little while and see if that does anything. Now whether or not that's the fix or not, I've actually seen that whenever I build something out of balsa. If I let it sit, it expands and things start to bow and it gets kind of ugly. So you might try that. Aside from that, adding some moisture to it and then trying to flatten it out.
Well, yeah, if you paint like the outside face, it's going to bow to the inside. So paint the back face and see if it bows outwards. Try and counterbalance it,
You're supposed to brace in that moment, because when you paint on the back, your front has grown, and then when you paint on the back has grown too. So
Yeah.
that's why you brace on the back, because you don't want any of that to happen. It's not going to equal out in your favor in the end.
Good point, Ron.
So Ron, have you tried drying them out, drying models out to straighten them out? Or?
I was about to say that you're from the south, so you would have an issue that I would have the opposite issue of. So that if it was too dry, because I'm sitting here in my shop and I got my stove going. I'll bet you this thing's going 24 hours a day. It's minus 30 degrees outside. So.
Wow.
Look, I could take a boiling cup of water, throw it up in the air, and it'll turn to dust. You know, it's great. Actually, that's a YouTube video for the morning. Anyways, yeah. So maybe adding a little bit of water from your misting bottle to it may counter that bend. You know.
And then seal it. I don't know if you'd want to seal it wet or not, but
just to get it square, but manhandling that thing with glue and putting it down to the base, whoever said that, has a lot of merit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I am RR. Let me say that again. IamRRO.com. That's Eric, our good friend Eric. Hey, Eric, how are you, buddy?
Hey, Eric.
He wants to know, what do you do to update your buildings to modern buildings? It seems most builds are from the transition era or from the East Coast. Us folks in the West and Southwest have more modern buildings. Tilt up construction, etc., etc. I don't know.
The things that are sitting around the building, like the air conditioners, the hydrometers,
details, all in the details.
Sometimes it's just a retrofitted building, but I understand what Eric's saying. In the West Coast, there's a lot of newer buildings. There's not a lot of buildings that are like, from the early 1800s, so, the early 1900s, I mean. So,
it's hard to take a Walther's Cornerstone and turn it into a Kmart. So I totally understand that, but I know that there's like a lot of things that you can do with the building to make it look more present day, but you're kind of getting yourself in a mess if you're starting with cornerstone structures, and I know Eric, you're in scale, so you're limited already on the structures that you can purchase. I know that Walters has a lot of cornerstone stuff for in scale, not as much as we'd like, but overall, it's about details. I think, like Ron's saying and Geno's saying, is that the only thing you can really do is try to update it. Maybe put something around the bottom of it, like some kind of a ledge all the way around the bottom, just to change the look, make it look a little bit different. But kind of screwed on that because right now in the industry, really and truly, I mean, if you look out what's being sold, there's not so many manufacturers that are selling present-day structures, and the multitude we have for all this old stuff is out there. It's that's all I have to say.
With that, the details in front of a modern building, like a post office box, is drastically different in modern day than it is in the past. So it really is the details that you add to these buildings that modernize them.
Mm-hmm. A lot of them you can change. A lot of the old ones, like the old DPM kits too, you can change the entrance way. Where a lot of the kits come with little molded wooden doors in the front. You can take that out and put in a glass storefront, like a modern day glass storefront, just to update the front of the building.
That's a great idea. Using like an aluminum door frame. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Hey,
there's
Barry?
little things like that.
Yes, Bill.
It's that time of the day where we have to do the giveaway things again, just so that we can keep the people informed as to what prizes we're giving away today.
Eric, I wanted to say hi to Eric. I know I don't believe we got to mention that on Eric. IamRRO.com. He's got an excellent N-Scale YouTube channel.
Yes,
Sorry about that, guys.
All right, let me.
He actually does, and on top of everything else, he's a very nice guy.
And I want to know when he's going to come up here to visit me.
That's right. You and Vinny, him and you are neighbors.
Right.
So here we go with the giveaway. Thank you, Jen.
All right, let's fire up the giveaway.
Yeah, I got it now, Geno. Central City Beltline.
There you go.
There you go.
I'm smart. I could have been ahead of the family.
So, our first giveaway here is a punch plate bridge kit from Central Valley Model Works. 150 feet long and 8-chip scale. Really beautiful model. Whoever gets that will look good in any layout. And then here we have a road striping kit from John Howard at Highways and Byways.
Very good
Fine
stuff.
stripes, very good product. Really makes the layout look beautiful. And his website is highwaysandbyways.com. Then we have
4 birch trees from Long Shadow Model Trees. 4 handmade custom HO or N-scale birch trees from Long Shadow's Model Trees. You can reach them at their website right at the bottom there. And we also have from Walters this year a sand and gravel aggregate kit with the figurines. We don't have it up. Barry's having a little bit of a technical difficulty. That's what happens on a live show. But from the Walters Cornerstone, we secured a aggregate to road model, plastic model, along with some figures that will go along with that. So, with that said, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
yes.
Also, just want to give you guys a heads up on all these giveaways. These giveaways are greatly donated by these guys. Some of you, I believe, Ron and Geno, you guys are doing the highways and byways. Did you get that? And
Yes.
And how was that product?
Oh, it's a wonderful product. I love it.
I've got it
Simple
also.
to use.
Oh, you do? Okay.
It's simple to use. It takes weathering well. Best product around, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. And also the Central Valley, the bridge, that is absolutely, I think, by far the pinnacle. There's the Walters Cornerstone from Walters William K. Walters Incorporated. It's a rail-to-road aggregate transfer and scene master transload crew. That's what we're giving away tonight as well. And we want to thank Walters for their contribution to the show, and hopefully we'll get them on. The next question we have here is from Aaron Sivion. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Aaron. If I am, please excuse me, and I do apologize. He says, first, thanks to the entire panel. My question is, have any of you made your own cast plaster walls? And if possible, does anyone know how thick the walls should be when pouring?
Good question.
I've never done it.
I've never done that.
I have not.
Thick enough that you don't want them to crack, but you also want them so that when you put
Can you all hear me?
Barry, so that when you put them together, the relief, like it's, when you do a downtown deco kit, it's about almost about a ½ an inch, I guess, or less. You want it substantial, but you don't want it so big that you really notice it on the corner of the building, because that's really the one place where you notice a plaster kit is at the corners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because at the corners they tend to flake and chip off.
Yeah, they're not square; they get all bubbly, and you see the edges.
Right.
You could always put a piece of angled styrene on the corners to cover those corners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Randy Petroff says to put a piece of wire in there as a downspout.
Yeah,
That's good too.
that's a very good idea. Thank you, Ron. Signal Fan asks, what has been your most difficult build and what did you learn from that experience? I think Vinny's laughing. If anybody hasn't seen Vinny's build on Shane's build on how to put roll-up doors, he is,
roll-up door. We lived with roll-up doors for quite a while.
Yeah.
Didn't we, Vinny?
And that is my most difficult build right now.
I want to say at this point in this conversation, I have seen Vinny's build, and I have to say that Vinny takes on the most challenging builds that anybody has ever done. I mean, this roll-up door, me personally, I would have set my hair on fire, and I would have thrown everything out the window, and that's it. But he persisted, and he kept going, and he did one heck of a job, I got to tell you.
I'll tell you how close I came to tell him I was going to quit on it, too.
So why?
What about yours, Bill? What was your most difficult build?
Me?
Bill? Yeah.
My most difficult build, I think, was making coffee the other morning when the Keurig didn't work. I had to actually get dressed and go to Dunkin' Donuts. That's
You guys hear me now?
yeah.
Yeah,
Now
I have up there. I put up there this little building right here. This little Cherry Avenue was probably one of the more difficult builds that I did, and this one, it's total scratch build with balsa, cardboard, just stuff you find around the house, really. Print offs of stuff. It's got an interior. I don't have any other pictures around the edges of it or anything, but I put an interior in it. It's got complete lighting. I spent more time on this building than I've spent on a lot of buildings. So, but it's really cute, you know, and the time pays off. You know, you put the time in, put the details in. They look fantastic when you get through.
Yeah, I have to say that, and again, Vinny and Ron, when they do these difficult, what I consider difficult builds, they make it look easy. You know, Ron has recently done put a circus in the back of a harbor view that he's been doing, and you know, it looks absolutely fantastic. The color bounces right out, but Ron makes it look very easy, as does Vinny and Geno do, and as well as you do, Mike. I give you guys a lot of credit. You do know how to put the devil is in the detail. I'll tell you that, and you guys do a real good job of doing it, especially, you know, Geno with the Central City Beltline Railroad. You like how I knew that, right?
You got it.
But your street scenes and your movie theater, you know, we're not even talking about the stuff that you're doing. If anybody's got a chance to see Geno's stuff on his YouTube Model Builders, go check it out. He's got a real great site and a great street running scene. And he just recently did a movie theater, and he did a row of streets, a row of commercial buildings, and he did that soda factory. I mean, really good stuff. And Ron as well. You guys, that's a build that Ron did, I believe.
Yes, this is the hardest building I ever built.
I recognize that, Ron.
Yeah, it's one of the first Craftsman kits I ever built. It's from the early 90s. So it's actually probably one of the first laser cut wood kits. And the problem with this kit is that can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. All the parts were numbered on the sprue, and as you took the parts out, the sprue started breaking apart, so that you started losing numbered parts, like the numbers for the parts. And in the instructions, it doesn't say a gable roof end or a dove's peak or, you know, whatever. You know, it refers to a number. You know, so the build was hell, and I learned a ton from that build, just from, you know, patience, you know, dividing parts into little Tupperware bowls and sticking to it till the end. And at the very end, my dog ate a cardboard part of the roof, and I had to scratch build it. It was stressful.
Likely story. Likely story. As the people would say.
Stressful. Oh man, and that's the movie theater, the Martin Movie Theater in downtown Central City, and that's a great build.
I love Art Deco buildings like that.
That looks great.
That was
You did a
probably
good job on that, Geno.
that's probably the worst one that I've done. Is just because it's built straight. All it is made from styrene for sale signs and strips. And to get it all to match up like the prototype was tough.
Yeah.
But it turned out pretty good.
I think it turned out great, man.
Videos, right?
Do what now?
That was one of your first videos, though, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, it's. I love the videos. It was a great build, because it's pretty much a scratch build.
Yeah.
Yep. I appreciate it, guys.
Takes a lot of time to do those videos, Geno. Thank you so much
It
for putting
does.
that together for the community.
Yeah.
You're doing well, right out of the gate.
Thank you.
So that was your hardest build, Geno?
Yeah, probably today, just because it was totally scratched from the ground up.
I remember watching that. A great build.
Thank you, sir.
What is Pacific North Central? That's our man Troy. Hey Troy, how are you, buddy? He wants to know what is a good stain for wood structures. I know that Ron has made some homemade stains.
Yeah, I made the homemade stains, and they're kind of the first versions of the stains. However, there's stains that I learned off of a friend of mine from the Modelers Guild on Facebook, Lex Parker, and his stains last pretty much forever. The stains that I have and the stains that are, commonly shared around the hobby fade over time, especially with lights coming down on them. And using shoe polish as a base for your stains is actually the best long-term. It's going to be a future video of mine, so.
With the shoe polish, would you dilute that?
Yeah. With I'm pretty sure with isopropyl alcohol, and I'm gonna get together with Lex and try to get his recipe. I don't know if that'll happen.
Yeah, I learned about that at a clinic I took one time. It's definitely an interesting idea to do that.
Because I've noticed over time my models do fade, and they could use a touch-up from time to time, and I've tried that, and I know Lex has commented here and there, and that's his way. He doesn't correct you. He lets you figure it out by little secrets along the way. So he's really an expert. So I kind of listen to him.
Why isn't there more people in the community talking about using regular wood stain? I mean, that works well too.
That's what I use. I go to like Home Depot or Lowe's and get cans of the stain. That's what I've always used.
Yeah, you just can get and he's breaking up on me. I don't know if he's breaking up on everybody else, but basically what Geno's saying, and I think maybe this was in a video of yours, that you go to Home Depot, you can pick up a little small 12-ounce can of wood stain, and that works too, but I don't see a lot of people in the modeling community doing that. Maybe you can answer that question, Ron.
Well, most of the stains have a red base to them or a yellow base to them, and most of the wood that we're staining up is either pink to a gray or a creosote color, which is a black. And so, most of the stains are really more of a reddish, orangish kind of bring out the oak color or stuff in the wood, and it's not really a black or a walnut color. It's not a dark color. So I'm sure you can tint stain like that, and I'm sure there's a formula to be made. It's just that I use what's been passed down, and most of the techniques that I use are from the Craftsman Kits that I built.
Yeah. Well, I think there's something to say about that, and which is this, that so many things are pushed on us and as modelers to use from modeling, I guess, businesses. And for the most part, most anything you're doing on a model structure, you can find other methods and other ways of doing this. A lot cheaper. Maybe it's not exactly the color you want, but when you're talking about a 12-ounce bottle of stain from Home Depot that costs $4 versus spending $26 on something from a retailer that says that it's for a model. I think, like myself, I try to find the least expensive avenues for this stuff. So,
You know what I've done for the little wood sheds and stuff I built? Use the stain pens, stain markers from Minwax. And they have like a gray and stuff like that. Then you can layer them up. So I'll start out with the base color and take the light gray and go over top of it, weather it down a little bit before I put a wash over it when it dries. For small, real tiny structures, they work out pretty good.
You know, that brings up something else real quick. That don't rule out water-based acrylics, man. I mean, you can mix a beautiful color of whatever you want. If it's water-based, you can thin it down and use that. You know, a lot of people talk about staining and stuff. Most everything I do, I try to do first with water-based acrylics. And once you experiment with water-based acrylics and play with them, you'll find that they're useful for so many different things. I see Ron using a lot of water-based acrylics and the stuff that he does in his videos. And you know, don't kill yourself thinking about wood stain and all these. You know, experiment with it. You know, like Geno's showing right there. It's just simple $1 from a craft store. I mean, you can do this stuff so much cheaper than going out and spending $25, $30 on something from a hobby shop.
You know, Delco comes in a little can, but you can get a great big can of Krylon flat, and it does the same thing.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now, you get beat up. I get beat up on using spray stuff all the time. Why are you using that? That's not modeling. Yes, it is.
King out
Whatever works.
Well, it's you know, what dictates in the hobby is finances. I've come to find out when you go to Michael's or AC Moore, and they, like Geno just showed the little thing of paint, and you walk in the back of the store and they're having a sale, 4 for 89 cents. Why would I want to go to and spend on testers a small can for $5, $6? And then it's like, I learned that a couple of years ago. I remember I was buying the testers primer, and I was getting a little can for like $6, and I walked into a automotive shop, my local automotive shop, and the guy he said, I need some spray paint because I was doing something with one of the my beater cars, and I was spraying it on the car, and I realized, wait a minute, this is a primer, sandable primer. I can use this on my models. And I tried it on a couple of plastic models, and I was like, that's the way to go. For $6, I paid like, for a big can, I paid like $3.50 for it at the time. I was like, so,
if you're on a budget, I guess.
Yeah, finances, if you can get it. And a lot of you guys out there that are doing structures and stuff, and I keep saying this, do not underestimate the cosmetic aisles of your local Walgreens, drugstore, anywhere. Go in, and people may look at you, but I picked up a tweezers with a flashlight in it.
No, he's right, and I have a picture up here. It's and actually that's why I got this picture, was to talk just a little bit about that. These are cosmetic wedges. It's in this picture, and I use those for everything. We were talking about using and painting and staining with water-based acrylics. And Ron has one here too. You'll find that these things are so useful in applying water-based acrylics to anything. I'm using it here on this mine thing. It works great. So
That's what Pan Pastels provides as an applicator with their weathering stuff. They actually do work very well.
Hey, Bill, I hope we're not getting off. I know we have a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah,
in
we
here.
do. I want to get back to it. Alex Kaminsky, I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Please excuse me, gentlemen and ladies, if I'm butchering your names. And I know that's the name that was given to you, and you know. But Alex, his question is, what kind of special glue should I use, and how would I apply it? My friends and I have just gotten into the hobby and are starting to receive buildings. Thank you. I would say, I think, Alex, what you're talking about is I'm making an assumption here. You're talking about plastic structure buildings, and so that's the premise we're going to go on. What would be the kind of glue that we would use?
Oh, go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry.
I would go for all of them because in this hobby there are glues that do certain things, and you never know when a certain part of your build will make it to that part. You know, whereas you start off with crazy glue or 10X or a plastic glue. You're still going to get down to the bottom of the model where you want to do scenery, and that's going to be a different type of glue to apply your scenery, right? I say to get all, and the type of white glue I like to get is Weld Bond. Lots of people like to get Elmer's. The reason I like to get Weld Bond is because it dries clear, and it is sort of waterproof. It's not waterproof, it's water resistant. And if you're like a carpenter or somebody who uses yellow glue or carpenter's glue, you know that if you screwed something up, you just wet that thing and it'll release, after wetting it up. But using a different kind of glue, it takes a little bit for that glue to release. So, so crazy glue, the gel kind does certain things. The runny kind does certain things. White glue, Weld Bond, whatever your flavor. 5-minute epoxy has merit for certain things because sometimes metal doesn't want to stick to anything, so I say all of them.
That's why we're paying you the big bucks here, Ron.
Well, there's something. He's touching on some good points there, and I think for a lot of new builders that, and these are questions that I get a lot through my YouTube channel, which is, what glue are you using? And I think for people just starting out, there's so much to choose from. Ron's right. You have so many different types of glues for so many different things, but I can tell you straight from my experience in dealing with a lot of this that you just can't seem to go wrong, like with structures and putting something together with that gel super glue. Try that. Now, the only problem with gel super glue is this: if you get it around any window material, it can fog them. You can run into some issues with that. But if you're just starting out building, play with that first. Play with it and see. It actually can dry. You can pop your stuff apart if you have to. You can get it apart if you need to, but don't rule that out. Don't set yourself stuck on trying to accumulate a bunch of different glues. That gel stuff works great, and then I would say aside from that is any kind of a chemical glue for plastic, and just pick one up. All of them do basically the same thing. 10X7 is really good.
Sorry, Mike.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Vinny.
For my styrene builds, I use MonoMasters pretty much for 90% of the build. But if I need something better, then I go to the CA, either the thick or the thin, one or the other.
That's good.
I use the CA a lot.
Yeah. Well, moving on. Mike Moore says, not a question, but a huge thank you to all you guys that put this on. Today I sat and watched the previous episodes that were posted on YouTube. Again, thanks for a wealth of information, and you're quite welcome, Mike. Again, if you're interested in getting involved, go to www.youtubemodelbuilders.com and come on, we can do some articles. And Dude Linda, he says, she'll like to see Geno do a presentation on how to build a billboard.
Yeah, me too.
What is the process of doing a billboard?
All it is styrene tubing and a sheet of styrene. And that may be something we can cover in the Hangout Tuesday night.
Do that in the Hangout. That'd be great,
Yeah,
Geno. Do
good
that.
idea, Gene.
Yeah.
We can do that, and it's quick and it's easy. It's real simple. We'll try to do that Tuesday night if y'all want to.
And T. Haywood 228, he asks, "Hey guys, I have a question for both Geno and Vinny. How do you guys decide on which buildings you're going to use and where to place them on your layout? Oh yeah, all of you guys stay warm. Well, Vinny, I'm sure you're experiencing great weather."
Well, all my buildings are prototypes, so they all go in prototype positions. That's basically it.
That's right.
Yeah, same with me. I'm modeling a prototype area as well, and and even if you're not, a lot of it you just get 2 or 3 and stand them up together and just kind of trial and error, move them around to get something to see what you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he didn't ask me. Why? You wouldn't want to know from me, or I don't know. But
Okay, moving right along.
yeah, see, okay. So let me just say this, because this is something that comes up a lot. I don't currently have a layout, but I build a bunch of buildings, and I love to build buildings more than anything. But just so you guys know, I mean, I am working on a layout, and one of the things I've run into is that I have too many buildings. I actually have too many. So what I've run into is trying to figure out ways to utilize the buildings that I have. So, but I am, and I have there, Barry, just so everybody is aware. I mean, I am trying to put a layout together and start using a lot of these buildings. But the point that I'm trying to make is that I really enjoy building the buildings more than anything. And so that question about, how do you determine this? Well, my layout is going to be to showcase my buildings. So where Vinny, he does an actual prototypical thing. It works out however you want to do it, whatever you want to do.
Well, a good thing about, I mean, you can even look at a prototype just for ideas of how different buildings get put different places. Just use that for ideas to place your own building as well.
Yeah.
I started out like Mike, just being interested in the buildings, and through working with the model company and all the jobs that I've gotten through that, I kind of got sick of model building for a while, and that's when I started this diorama I have showing now.
You're not showing it right now, Ron.
I am not.
No, I see it, Ron.
Do you?
I see it. Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
So what happened? Anyways. Okay, so I started that because I had a whole bunch of buildings up on the shelf. Well, not up in like through moves. I was moving these models and they were breaking. The kids were playing with them. They had the little dinky cars and stuff around them. So I think it's my camera that's moving. So I started building that module and just started putting buildings in. I tried them every which way. I sat them down for about a week and, moved them here, moved them there, put a little detail parts around them, and it really took a long time for me to glue things down. So
Came out good though.
I just eye it up, just put it down. Don't, the best piece of advice anybody could give a new modeler is don't try to finish your layout today, your model today.
Very good point.
Finish a face fit. Intend to add detail later. Put it down and ponder it.
Yeah, very good point, Ron. That's a very
Bill,
good...
you could expand on that because we were just talking about this the other day. Like what we were talking about is a lot of people get into model railroading and don't realize the amount of work that's involved with this. It's not a 2-week thing. You're not going to put a layout if you're wanting a full layout in a couple of weeks. You have a workload ahead of you. Mm-hmm. And that right, Bill? We were just talking about this on the phone, right?
It's not a video game. As you can see, sitting in I know Ron is into the video end of it, but this is not a video game, and sometimes this video generation is I want what I want and I want it right now, and I'm always amazed that when even grown-ups come over and they're like, so when is this going to be finished? And I'm like, hopefully never, you know. But it is a process, and it is something that that you do, and that you want to enjoy doing, and you just keep banging away at it. And like Ron said, I agree 100% with Ron. As much as you want to finish it quickly, it's something, step away from it, and then look at it, and then come back and say, that's how my welding video came about. My welding shack was, I literally I broke the wheel set and cracked the box car, and I didn't want to throw it out, and I was like, well, what do I do with it, and then I just put it in a box, and then I said, man, I can make a welding shed out of it, a welding shop. We went from there and stuff. So it is a process, and it's fun. It's meant to be fun. And with that said, I'm segueing to Barry on our giveaways again. Barry, let's inform the viewing public, what we're giving away tonight.
Give me a moment to get it set up here.
You guys want to go take a break or something to go do what you got to do, refill your coffee cup while we go through this?
And I'm going to bring PowerPoint back up. That's what blew me up last time.
Don't worry about it. We got you covered, man. We got you covered.
Yeah, just give me a moment here to bring it back up, and then I'll screen share it out there.
Well, while we're waiting for Barry to bring that up, I just want to let you guys know out there in the viewers land that you guys should check out each and every one of these gentlemen that are on our panel. Their YouTube videos, each and every one of them in their own right are very good modelers and very informative videos that are quite entertaining and quite informative. From Geno, Ron, and Vinny, they just absolutely, absolutely great videos, and very much, and a lot of these gentlemen, Geno, Ron, and Vinny as well, very much involved in the community. You ready, Barry?
Yeah, but you forgot somebody, and I don't have to play my tiny violin again.
Who? Mike?
Yeah, you go.
Mike hasn't made a video in 16 what years?
Here we go. Let's try the giveaways this time, see if they don't blow me out of the water. So our first giveaway is the punch plate bridge kit from Central Valley Model Works Incorporated. Beautiful 150-foot long HO scale bridge. And then we have the wonderful road striping kit from highwaysandbyways.com, our friend John Howard. This is a package of vinyl stripes for your railroad, road stripes, grade crossings, etc. And then Mr. Bob Lacey of LongShadowModelTrees.com has handmade us some custom birch trees in either HO or N scale. And then here, the new one this month, thanks to ModelerManMike, is a Walters Cornerstone rail-to-road aggregate transfer facility, and this Walters Scene Master Transload crew to go with it.
Barry, I don't have that full screen.
Really? Let me come back here.
Well, there we go. Working.
I'm going to go back and show the graphics really quick.
Anyway, moving forward here, Russell Campbell asks, I've got 3 downtown Deco Adams Avenue buildings. What glue would you suggest to use for plaster, and what type of paint would you suggest to use? You guys are all great builders. Well, Geno, you around?
Yeah, I'm here.
I've used 5-minute epoxy. It's kind of fiddly and messy. I don't like using it. So I've also used my weld bond glue, but by bracing it on the inside corners as opposed to doing it as the manufacturer tells you to do it.
Oh, bracing, using what, styrene to brace the inside?
I got a great big box of wood right beside me here, so I just use wood.
Oh,
But you got to be careful with the way those walls go together. You sand them square, and you don't sand them too far, but just try to sand them square and go from there. Like, they're real finicky, and you'll never find a kit that'll take paint as wonderfully as plaster. Like, it's really fun if it's a nice brick wall. It's I don't know.
Yeah, my experience with Art Deco, the downtown Deco buildings, and the gentleman, and I think, Ron, you know the guy that runs the place, right?
Randy Peprock. I've never met him, but
yeah, he's a real nice guy, Randy. Very nice man. And he gave me some insight, like to spray the like the light coat of what am I? Just lost it, man. My mind just
primer, because it'll
there
soak
you go.
paint.
Right, primer. But he said not to soak it, which I did, and I found that the couple of like I did the one-time bar at the Chop Suey House, which are basically the same buildings, they're just different names that were put on them. But in doing so, such as this, if this was the building itself, not spraying so close, but at a far distance, and just kind of misting it and letting it set up, and then applying the stain or the paint, it really took very well, and then you could work with it, And you were right about squaring it up. You got to. I mean, my first time, I kept sanding it until I had like a pencil nub, and I said, I don't think this is supposed to look like this. But and that was the other beauty thing about the downtown Deco. If it breaks and you can't repair it, just give him a call and he'll send you out one ASAP. So that's a good thing.
Lots of North American manufacturers, like if you get a wood kit, not the Minerva Casket Co. that I showed earlier, but another kit from the same company, Fanny Schwann's, had a missing part in it, and it was out of production for 25 years, and the guy still replaced the part. So
yeah, that's good.
On the ones that I've built, as far as the glue, what I've found, Gorilla Glue has come out with super glue, and it's not real thin and it's not real thick, but it's the working time on it is just a little bit slower than the regular super glue, so you've got time to make adjustments if you need to.
Yeah, I like the Gorilla Glue.
And I've also found that the product really doesn't phase the glass as much as the other versions of Crazy Glue that I've found.
Yeah.
That's a good product.
The Signal Fan asks, what is a good source for detailed parts?
That's Trains.
Good point. Very good. They have a wealth of detail parts.
I used to buy detailed parts off a guy long time ago, and he retired, and Best Trains, I think, bought his catalog and molds, and I've got a whole bunch of those castings, and they're awesome.
Yeah, Brian and Joe, they keep adding to them.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's actually the Modelers Guild website. He was the first company to send us a review kit.
Oh, nice. Isn't there another one called Model Tech Studios?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're very good.
Studios
They got a bunch of detailed parts there.
Yeah, industrial and marine. It's a lot of nice stuff. I like them.
Yeah. Here's a question from Geno from John Alexander. He says, I tried making a wash for the first time using 90% alcohol and black acrylic paint, and it was just a complete fail. Is there a certain ratio I need to use? This is my first time being here on a live show, by the way, so hi, everyone. Hey, John, how are you, buddy? Welcome to the crazy house.
First thing I would say, John, is mix it light at first. I would use maybe 1 or 2 drops of paint and a small cup of alcohol. You can always come back and add another layers to darken it up. But I would start out with a small amount of paint and then just kind of add to it as you need to.
The problem I found with that mixture is that sometimes the paint coagulates.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. Did you just say coagulate?
I don't know what I meant.
Bill's not going to understand that. That's a big word.
The biggest word I know is delicatessen.
Right word. I don't know if I used the right word or not. I just.
No, that was the right word. The biggest word I know is
the right word.
Or pharmacy.
But I found that using India ink, INDIA ink, is a black ink and will mix with alcohol fantastic. Use about 10, 20 drops and Bob's your uncle.
I like how Ron puts that out there. INDIA. Not Indian ink. It's not Indian ink.
India ink.
I called it Indian ink for years.
A lot of us still do, Mike.
I couldn't find it for the longest time.
That's funny.
Al Moore Jr. Hey, Al, how are you, buddy? I have a rock mold. How would you fill the gaps after the install?
Oh.
Calcoat. Anything like that. Calcoat or what is it? The plaster of Paris.
Ultimo.
Sculptamold. Any of that stuff.
The messiest thing known to man.
Yeah. Caulking.
Actually, the best bet may be using an icing dispenser kind of thing and squeezing a plaster around the outside, using your finger. Go from
It's a
there.
rock, right? So what does it
Actually,
matter?
there's some really good videos on this out there right now. I wish I had a link. Maybe we can share it later. But generally what they do is they'll use, I say they, and I say that because I haven't actually done this myself, but I'm sure that it's pretty simple. They'll take like a little bit of plaster of Paris or something, Calcoat or something, stick the rock on whatever they're working on, and then what happens is it oozes. Then you can just take your finger or take a brush or something and smooth that out. That's another one of those things. It looks hard, it seems hard, but once you do it, you're like, wow, this is easy.
You just got to make it up.
What is that, Ron?
Have lots of water, a rag, wipe that stuff off because it'll be a mess everywhere. I kind of avoid plaster now. Stresses me out.
What do you use, Ron?
Me, I just use, like I cover it with ground foam, so I can use everything, like carved foam. You know, carved foam is much less messy. Much more cool.
I thought we were going to have something like, you know, raw egg with chili powder and paste or something.
Oh, those are punk rock days. Mohawks.
Aaron asks, what's the code? I don't understand the question.
He wants the passcode.
Oh, he wants the passcode. We haven't given that out yet, Aaron.
That would be...
You have to.
Barry promised us that he was just going to forget that this show.
Yeah, you have to hang on, Aaron, just a little while longer to get that
At least
code.
another half hour.
Yes, because if we gave that code in the beginning, our viewership would drop from 83 to 6. We wait until the end to do it. Gregory, for Mike, what do you usually primer kits? What do you prime structure interiors with for the sake of interior lighting? Okay, I got it now. I should have read it first. What do you usually prime the interior structures with for the sake of interior lighting?
Oh, yeah, you know what? I do this a lot, and that's for me. I'm the only Mike, right?
Yeah.
You can see in a lot of the videos that I do, I don't really prime it. I use that Krylon flat black. It's usually found like in Kmart or somewhere like with all the camouflage colors. And that paint actually has, I think it actually has built-in primer. You can paint that right on the surface.
Yes.
And I use that on the interior of all my structures to black it out. There's other ways to black it out, but that I found is the best. So it's a Krylon. What is it, guys? I don't have it in front of me. It's a Krylon flat black.
Yeah, that's a very good paint.
Now, the reason I like to paint my walls black is because when you light an interior of a building, Mike might agree, if you light it up, you'll see the back wall. It'll shine out like crazy. So unless you decorate that wall, paint it black.
Yeah, I totally agree, Ron.
Jack Highway asks, a nice guy from up north. He's a Canadian. He says, "Great show so far, guys. So how do you decide whether to paint the building walls before or after construction? I have several grain silos with ladders and other handrails that I want to paint, but are already assembled. How would you paint them?" Very
Disassemble them. I would disassemble.
Very fine brush.
And my wife Tina says that Vinny's not talking enough, so maybe Vinny should.
Yeah, let's get Vinny to answer that one. He does all those really detailed ladder.
Well, to be honest with you, before I put a structure together, it's painted. And I have every place that has to be painted is masked off. So when I pull the masking off, the glue has a good surface to adhere to. But your structure's already together. I don't know how you're going to do that.
Well,
I would try and take it apart. You can mask it and stuff. Sorry, Ron, go ahead.
No, go for it, Mike.
No, I was just saying that, you can try that. For me, I would take it apart if you could. If you're unable to do that, then you'll need to find some masking tape and just mask that baby out as much as you can to get those small detail parts painted. But ultimately, I think the best way to do that is to paint your parts first before you put a structure together. Mask off any, just like Vinny's mentioning, mask off any points that are going to connect from one point to another where you're going to glue, and do it that way. It just looks so much better than trying to paint a finished structure.
So he's got a grain silo, which I expect is built from concrete. So I imagine that if you took a spray paint can, if this model is able to go outside, you give it a light coat of not a gray, but a creamy gray. Is that a color?
Aged yellow or aged concrete.
Yeah, aged concrete or something like that, and just spray that thing, and then weather it after. Find where the cracks are and make them a little darker. But because that model is probably one color, you can paint it all that concrete color and then come back and paint your ladder yellow, safety yellow. Your little chutes at the bottom, you can paint them a dark burnt umber. Make them look nice and rusty. You don't even need any weathering powders if you get the right colors in acrylic paints. Or a spray paint can, I would use the spray paint can as the base coat and then come back as acrylics. That's what I often do.
Yeah, I do say.
Use the Krylon
agree, right?
camouflage khaki color for aged concrete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that works out well.
I use that for
khaki. That's it. You know what? That's right. I'm sorry, Ron. Barry, you're right on. It's called khaki, and it's one of those camouflage colors, and it's a perfect aged concrete color.
It is actually a perfect aged concrete color because the aged concrete color that you get in the paints looks different, so that you could have two concrete buildings beside each other, and the two look realistic because they're just two different objects. They're just slightly different colored.
See, and I like that, Ron, because that adds a point of realism. If everything's painted the same colors, it doesn't look real. So the eye sees so many more colors, and you got a good point there, Ron.
Aces 116, our good friend Ron from
Aces.
Yeah, Australian. Long time no see, Ron. Miss you on the Hangouts. Hi, everyone on the panel. When you plan to do your buildings, may it be a kit or a scratch-built one, do you plan for the light as you build it, or do you just pop them in when it's finished? Cheers.
I plan the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
I think about that continuously whenever I'm putting it together.
You have to. Yeah. Because it's so hard to do after. I've got so many buildings that I have glued down. And now that I got lights, I got a great big package of lights here from China. And it's going to be so hard to put them in there, you know. You got to plan this from the start, like Mike says.
Right.
Vinny,
know,
on your layout, do you have lights in your building?
Who,
Say
me?
it again, Bill?
I said in your structures, do you have lights in them?
No, none of my structures have lights.
Is that by choice or?
Oh, it's because 90% of them don't have windows.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh,
you know,
wow. I never noticed that, Vinny.
yeah, take a look. 90% of them don't have windows. And it's prototypical that they don't have windows.
Right.
You know, that's a real good point, though. I don't know if you've seen this mine video that I did. It kind of gives you an idea of kind of how far ahead you have to think. Is on that one, I actually remember I put it together. I made sure I left several of the roofs. They're not glued down. You know, I can take them off, and so you just kind of have to continuously think as you're putting it together. How am I going to get to this area to put a light? And that helps a lot.
See, now the build I'm doing for Shane, he wants the roof to be removable because he intends to put lights inside the building.
Yeah.
So he's just be able to pull the roof off and attach his lights and put the roof back on, and he's done.
You know, that brings up something else. I don't know if you thought about it before, Vinny, but like you build these structures and you send them out to people. One of the things I've done on some of the models that I have is use earth magnets. So that those the rooftops can just pop on and off. I mean, it's like part of the structure using earth magnets so that they stay on when you move the model around and stuff. So that's just one thought. So that way, if you do got to get back in later to replace a light, you can just pop those off pretty easy. Earth magnets are really strong.
Because of the size of his building, the roof has to be done in 2 sections. I can't get a piece of plastic big enough to fit his build.
You built some pretty big ones, Vinny.
I tell you, I started out just doing N scale, and all of a sudden it started HO, and now this one is a 1/50th scale.
Holy cow!
It's bigger than Y.
O scale or?
No, it's bigger than no scale. Because I asked him when I first when he first contracted me to do the building, I said, "Can I use O scale parts?" And he says, "No." He was definite, no, banged on the table. I said, "Okay, whatever."
And it's 1/50th?
1/50th.
Oh.
That sounds like an oddball European scale.
Yeah.
Well, you know, he's into all these European cast construction equipment models.
Yeah, that's like O scale in Britain. In Europe,
Yeah,
it's 1/50th. And it's just slightly off because O scale is 1/48.
You're right, exactly. And he put his foot down and said, "No, you cannot use any O scale parts."
There you go.
I was thinking of doors and windows and all kinds of stuff like that. He said, "No," he says, "they have to be specific size." And he gave me all the sizes that he wanted, you know, for his doors and his windows. I wanted to put pane glass windows in there, and he told me no. He wanted one solid piece of glass because his building is modern. So,
Hey, Ron. Of course, I just want to say hi, Ron. Glad you could make it, man.
Shane Mason asks, how do you bend or curve your styrene? Vinny, how do you do that?
what are we talking about? Styrene strips?
I guess, you know, bend or curve a styrene sheets. I would go for the whole gamut here.
Well, I never tried bending a whole sheet, but if I had a strip, what I would do is just take the plastic like this and put my lighter under it and just get it warm enough and just bend it down, and it'll stay like that.
I tried to heat it up with the hair dryer and bend it over an object that has the curve that I need.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Yeah, good point.
But just not to get off my butt and go and get my hair dryer, I just sit here and use my cigarette lighter.
I got a paint peeler here somewhere, so.
Scott McDonald says, what is the best way to uncurve plastic wall that is 10 years old?
Hair dryer and a flat board.
There you go.
Heavy weights.
Actually, go easy on the heat with these things because all you have to do is really melt one object and you're kicking yourself in the butt.
Yeah, just very light heat. That's all you need. Plastic is very malleable. It'll bend right away with the least amount of heat. In fact, there's a couple of times where I even took a piece of styrene strip and put it and blew on it with just with my breath, and as I was blowing on it, I was bending it. So that's how much heat you really need.
Yeah.
Man. William Mosher asks, what is the best material to use for roof shingles on structures?
Thin styrene. I actually have a video on that on my channel. If you look under the Rico build, I made styrene shingles for that L&N station that I have.
Uh-huh.
I've got a couple things that I like to use. One that I seen Mike use on one of his builds was black construction paper. You don't have to color it or anything. You just cut it and go. The other thing is I get that craft paper from the post office. I like to use that for a lot of different stuff. So I paint it a certain color and cut it out. I've got a Cricut here, so I can cut out my shingles easier now too.
I really like using masking tape. I think masking tape looks great. It's got a texture to it, and this camera tape is some of the best stuff. It's a black. It looks great. You can go through and cut it up however you want, make all you want. It's sticky, and masking tape works great too.
Masking tape is good. The black masking tape is good too because you can score lines on it, and then you can fill it in with globs of black paint to give it that tar look.
Well, I use the masking tape to represent tar paper, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, you're talking about shingles. Like on some of the stuff, well, let me see if I can pull a picture up. On some of the stuff, if you want the detail of like individual shingles, you don't normally get that with the masking tape, but you could actually cut, make little cuts into that stuff to give it that, that look. But it depends on what you're doing. If you're doing shingles, then, there's a lot of really good products that are out there you can buy. Let me see what this is Ron's showing here. Now, is that a paper product?
This is a wood. The shingles is a paper product that's laser cut. This is a RS laser building.
Yeah, see, that looks fantastic. Now that's purchased, right? So if you're looking for cheap, I say cheap. I don't know how much that costs, but like what I do is I generally use. Let me see if I can pull this one up.
Actually, if I want to scratch build something, I usually buy the product first, and if I'll need to use that product again in the future, I just scratch build it. And companies that sell shingles are Best Trains again. What's that? Not Blair Line, but Bar Mills. They sell shingles.
And then Clever Models sells laser cut, like cardboard printed shingles too.
Who's that?
It's Clever Models. It's called the Creaky Shingles or something like that.
Is that pre-cut though?
But yeah, it's laser cut.
Oh, okay. That's the important part, because cutting that stuff up
it's difficult. Yeah, it takes time.
Here we go. Here's a question. Here we go. I'm getting a message. Okay, there we go. From the Bob's N-Scale Man Cave. Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
I need to make a 4K instead of a full-size building on my shelf layout. How deep should I go from the wall is a good size? A 4K, I'm not
facade.
Facade, yeah.
That's a big word.
The biggest word I know is delicatessen, boys.
2 big words tonight, man.
I know. It's throwing me up, man.
All you have to do is create a shadow. So, it doesn't take very far. What I would suggest, though, if you do like 1.5 inches on one side, do a 1/2 inch on the other. Put an angle on it so that there's shadows here and there. Playing with light is what will really start you to think about scenes.
Okay.
You know, if you create a shadow somewhere and add an LED, you can create a nice little vignette. You know,
Cool.
so you know, certain things like that. You know, you think about things a different way by, you know, adding interest, and doing everything square is the first way to limit your possibilities.
Yeah, I agree with that, Ron. Yeah, try and get some diversity in there, and I like the shadows. That's a good point.
I just made that up.
No, you didn't either.
David Cole has a companion question to that. He's where did David go? David just disappeared from.
Where's David?
There he is. Have any of you used different scale buildings in the background? I think it's called forced perspective.
Yeah, I've seen that done. It works very well.
I've seen
I've
it,
never
but I've never done it myself.
Yeah, I've never done it, but I've been a part of a club that put some N-scale buildings up on top of a mountain on an on an HO scale layout, and it worked great.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw
There's a few videos on YouTube I've seen that show some of the club layouts that have forced perspective. It looks really fantastic. They're HO scale with an N scale set back like in the mountains and stuff. It looks great.
Yeah, I was at Arnie Hall's Bin Haven Railroad layout when I was up at the expo one time, and he had a big lake scene, had all these beautiful foreground buildings, and in the background he had some small N-scale boats and some N-scale cabins, about, I don't know, 2-3 feet away in the back of the lake, and it really looked pretty good. I mean, it really drew your eye in, you know.
Yeah.
And at this time, Barry, one more time, last time for our giveaways. What are we doing?
All right.
Go full screen, Barry.
I'm doing it right now.
And I'll be right back.
Okay, John. All right. And our screen share here. All right. So our first one here is our 150-foot HO scale punch plate bridge kit from Central Valley Model Works Incorporated. This has been a very popular giveaway for some of our fans, and I can see why it's a beautiful structure to build. And we also have our road striping kit here from John Howard of highwaysandbyways.com. It's a package of vinyl stripes for your model railroads, roads, grade crossings, etc. And he makes it believe in N scale and HO scale. And next we have 4 birch trees from Bob Lacey at longshadowmodeltrees.com. 4 handmade custom HO or N scale trees. As you can see there, they're beautiful as usual. And then our new giveaway this month is from Walther's Cornerstone. It's the rail to road aggregate transfer facility and the Scene Master transloading crew.
And in about, what we say, 15 minutes, Barry, we're going to give the code out?
Yeah, I'll activate the page and we'll give the code out to put your entries in about 11:45.
Okay.
East Coast time, that is.
I think our viewing public has been patient enough, and they really.
I wonder if I could take on a question that's being asked in the list there.
You certainly may, Ron. Go right ahead.
Eric's asking about the Cricut. He's looking to buy one, and what the Cricut is it's a die cutter, and it's kind of like a laser cutter that cuts with a razor blade. And I'm using it to cut out signs and things to mask models off and stuff like that. The thing is that you can take fonts off of your computer. I've got like 20,000 fonts on my computer, so you can pretty much do anything. And it can also cut into styrene. And I think it can do 40,000 styrene. So that's
The Explorer can do 30,000 styrene, and it won't cut through, but it'll cut to the point where it snaps.
I've got that to cut my 40th styrene.
Yeah, probably would, but you just won't get as deep of a cut.
It's it, I guess you can say. So, it's exact. It's not awesome like. It's not the savior of model railroading. It's not something that's going to make it do it yourself at home. There's a little bit of extra work. But the thing I like about it is you don't have to use a CAD software. You can use an image and manipulate that image to cut without using CAD. And I'm a dummy with CAD, so that's perfect for me. So I say it's a buy. It's cheap. It's a buy to try if you've got that kind of money.
Yeah, but Eric, make sure you get the Cricut Explorer model, because that's the newer one that has deep cut blade housing available. So I've seen that in use, and it works very well. You can even go up to 16th inch basswood with it, and it cuts very nicely.
Yeah, that's what I have is the Cricut Explorer, and it's not just that it can cut deeper. It's the fact that you can use the fonts on its web interface, which isn't available on any other model.
Right. Yeah. It lets you upload your own data into their design space.
Yeah.
On their website, so you can draw something in CAD or anything you can draw an outline in, like it output the right file type, like I think it's an SVG file.
I grab it off of Shorpy and Google Images.
Yeah, I mean, you can even, I think there's a free program called Inkscape you can use that'll produce an SVG file, and you can draw outlines in that of your buildings. I saw Miles Hale did a S-scale locomotive cab, and when he cut it out of 30,000 styrene, he just snapped out the outside, punched out the windows, and just bent it on the scribes in the corners, glued it together, and put it on his locomotive, and it worked out pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good product. A lot of new different products coming out that are enhancing the.
You can use a JPEG with that.
Yeah, technology. If you, just to give you guys, you viewers out there, and Dude has brought this up, and I'm glad that he did, that they have a weekly hangout presentations that are on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and if you miss anything, they also have a Q&A, and you can join in there. It's a great place to have ideas if you have an ask upfront question. So please don't hesitate. It's on Tuesday evenings. Check the Google Plus page on YouTube Model Builders, you know, come and it's a weekly hangout, and they got some really good stuff going on there and presentations, and you can really learn a lot of good stuff. So you know, that's hosted by Dude and John and Troy as well, and they have some pretty good information. It's a little bit more detailed than what you're getting here. Here we're doing a lot of Q&A and you know, back and forth, but over there it's kind of like a video hangout. They can only fit a certain amount, 10 people on a video hangout. So if you get there early, you're in. You know, usually guys stick around for maybe 15-20 minutes and then bail so they can let somebody else in. And
David Cobb too. Don't forget David. David's part of that team now too.
David Cobb. Yes, David Cobb.
He put together an excellent video here recently on how to use that. You can find on the Google Plus page as well.
Yes, I forgot. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. From John Murphy, he says, "Do you guys prefer stains or chalks for weathering?"
Both.
Yeah, both. I mean, whatever gets the look you're looking for. I think. For me, I mean, and I know that Geno is all over washes and stuff, and that works great too. I mean, there's no question about it. I like using powders because it gives a little bit of that rusty, dirty kind of look whenever I'm putting something together. But overall, I think to get the best look, using both it gets the look that I like.
Yeah. Why do you like it, Geno?
Well, both of them go good together. I mean, you can use the washes to get the base stain and color that you want, and you come back and highlight it with the chalks. You've got the rust colors, the dirt colors. and really accentuate, certain areas that you model, like in the bottom area where you want all the dust and the road grime to kick up, and
Yeah.
all your drainage, water drainage from your seals. It works real good. Both of them work good together.
That's a good point. I like that. JSCH. I'm sorry. What was that?
I like to use all too. Powders will do one thing; they'll dry up something. I like to use big washes, which are kind of totally different than washes that are being referred. They're like kind of like a linseed oil military model wash, and it's really makes an oil-looking patch. So that's a nice stain type material. Mid washes.
And Vinny, what about you? What do you like to use?
Well, to tell you the truth, weathering is my least favorite thing to do.
Is it really?
It's the easiest part of all of it.
Yes, it is.
I just can't do it. It just don't come out right for me. At least to me, it don't look right.
Oh,
And
okay.
the thing is you can see on Vinny's layout that you don't see an extremely weathered building here and there. It's uniform, not weathered, and it looks awesome that way.
Yeah, that's a good point. When you look at his too, it's modern day. So a lot of the structures and stuff aren't going to be all ugly and weathered. So I think it fits right in with your layout. I think your layout looks great, Vinny.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of your layout too.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks,
Yep.
guys.
Me too. Me three. Me four.
Me too.
Yeah, let's vote.
Bye.
JSCHL954 says, "What is the best type of material to make silos?"
PVC pipe.
Man, I don't even see that question.
Mm-mm.
It's been floating around. It's a +5. It's right underneath Sean Hendricks. We all love Barry.
I love you, Sean.
I'm rarely building a final building on my first try, and if I need to do a prototype of something, it's always made out of cereal box. I've got kids.
Yeah.
They pound
Absolutely.
cereal.
This is PVC for a silo for a storage tank.
Yeah.
What size is that?
It's about 1.25 inches.
That's a good thing to use for silos and stuff like that.
If he was HO, what size would you use, Vinny?
Say it again.
If he was HO scale, what size of PVC tube?
Well, it would be almost twice that size.
So 3-inch.
Yeah. And this is another product you can use also. This is a curtain rod.
All right.
And all I did, it comes in a length, 3-foot length or whatever, and I just cut it down to whatever size I need it to be.
That's a metal curtain rod, Vinny?
No, it's like some kind of not plexiglass, but it's some sort of resin or something.
Oh, very nice.
And also, if you want larger tanks, you can get the caps they put on the end of a plumbing pipe.
Right.
Because it's already got a dome on it and everything, and so you could use that for your larger tanks.
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Keep
Good
your
idea.
eyes out. You'll never know what you can use for your model railroad.
One thing I ran across, and I just wanted to mention it just because I thought it was so cool. I should probably put a video together on it. Is when you go to a print shop, they'll have these great little plastic tubes that they put their prints in, and there's no seams, no nothing. You can cut these things to length, and they take paint perfectly. Is that one, Ron?
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is with that is a lot of people use these cardboard tubes, and they have the little round seam thing on them that goes around it. It doesn't look very well. You usually wind up sanding that down, but these print things, man, they look fantastic.
What?
Check out a print shop.
Pacific North Central, that's Troy. He asks, what's a good method, tools and paints, chalks to use for weathering brick?
That depends on how deep the profile is of the brick. Mike has a method that works really good using the Windex and the white paint to let it seep through the bricks, and that works really well if the relief isn't so much. But if you've got a nice depth through the brick, you can actually use different stuff for that. You can think of what, like you use people are using plaster powder and actually stuffing it in there and then sealing it in with dull coat. I've heard of people using flour, but I really wouldn't put anything food grade on a layout if you got any chance of mice or cats.
Talcum powder.
Or any talcum powder, yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You know, Monster Railroad has a pretty good video out on using sheetrock mud. You know, just
I've used.
yeah. So, and that works good if you have a lot of relief as well. I think that actually looks pretty realistic, and you can take that and mix like some water-based acrylic paint in with it, mix it up really nice, and you put it on, and then just use a squeegee and go over the top of the bricks, and man, it lays out great.
yeah. However, if the brick doesn't have a lot of relief in it, use Mike's method. It's tried and true.
Thank you, Ron.
It's about quarter of, so it's time for us to activate the giveaway form.
Drum roll, please.
God, we have so many questions, though. There's so many questions in here.
If you want to continue on, you are our fearless leader, Mike.
Oh no, not
No,
I.
he's not. No, wait a minute. No,
Bill runs the show, man. I'm just a guest. I'm a guest.
Gotcha. No, let's
Even if
get
he
this
doesn't
shit
mention
right
what you
off the bat.
I'm still just a guest.
I'll tell you when we're gonna have this giveaway thing. What do you think, Mike? We should have What do you think, Mike? You think we should have the giveaway or what?
Hey, you know what? I'm just a guest. I am only a guest.
Hey, I say we do a test. We do the giveaway, and then we keep on doing questions and see if they leave. If they stay, then we're doing something good.
I think they'll stay. One more question before. Train Freak. Hi, guys, from Ottawa, Canada. Anyone ever built fine scale miniature kits? If so, what was your favorite build? Great show, boys. Right after this question, Barry, we're going to do the giveaway, give the code, okay?
You got it.
Man, I wish I could see these questions. Where is that?
Right underneath Pacific North Central's what's good material used. It's the number 2.
I'm not seeing it either.
What's the question again, Bill?
I've built a whole bunch of them, but actually I'm pulling them out of my rafters here, and they're so full of dust I can't show them on the air.
Sure you can.
I built about 8
On
of
and
them.
off weathering. Weathering.
Yeah, the apocalypse, scorched earth weathering. But I've built about 8 fine scale miniature models. My favorite is Bartholomew Cole. Yeah, that's my favorite. But I've built the Pile Driver. I built Abrams Bakery, Baxter's Supply, Bartholomew Cole, Butcher. Oh, a bunch of them. But they're all great, especially once they get into the Jewel series kits. They start getting into the multimedia builds, and the quality of the instructions increase greatly. So if you get into the JS model numbers, those are quality models, all of them.
I actually got to meet George Celios this year at Amherst. It was quite a pleasure to meet him. Very soft-spoken man.
All right, Barry, so what is let's do the giveaway code so we can get that
Are
activated.
you sure you want to do that right now?
Yes, I'm making an executive decision.
He's trying to do it to us, Bill. He's
That's
trying
all
to do it to us.
Gotta have
I say we keep them hanging.
All right, folks. How to win. First, you have to enter, go to YouTubeModelBuilders.com, click on the YouTube Model Builders Live, and go to the bottom where it says Live Show Giveaway Entry Form. And that's
Now,
where
can
you
I
put...
enter for this?
No.
Ah, man.
What about me?
So, you go there. When you get there, I will give you the super secret top word. Get on the website.
And please, guys, gentlemen, ladies out there in the YouTube Model Builders live show land, only enter one time.
We are watching.
It does come up duplicate. We see it, so we eliminate you. We take you right out.
The giveaway code is NYCTA, all lowercase. NYCTA.
That's the New York City Transit Authority.
Oh, wow. You have to throw that in there. Bill does run the show, doesn't he?
He does. Bill is our man.
I tried, gentlemen. I tried. I want to thank you guys anyway before we get any further than this. This has been, I think this show rates right up there with the DCC show we had months ago.
We still got lots of questions.
We still do.
Yeah, we need to hammer those. Let's try and get everybody's.
Yes, I use the NWSL chopper. It's a great tool for working with wood and actually styrene.
I use it all the time.
Yeah, Vinny's is big on that. I mean, he goes right through that like, you know. Yeah, that's from Terry. That.
Which question is that?
It's from Terry. It's a +5 question. Do any of you use the NWSL chopper and the duplicate cutter in your builds? Yeah, I do. I do all the time. It's a great piece of tool.
Yes, it is. I'm very happy that I bought it.
There's actually the sander tool that goes with it, and Vinny uses the tool a lot. Do you notice that when you cut with it, the ends are angled?
Yes.
Using that sander that they have, the Sand It tool, really works well just to touch the end of those boards up. And I worked on one project that I was getting paid enough that I totally used it.
But what I noticed on mine, and I don't know if it happens on everybody's, but the pivot where the knife is, that pivot gets loose, and then the blade goes all over the place. You know, so I got to make sure that that's tight all the time, and then I always try and hold the blade opposite the angle that it's going to cut.
Mm-hmm.
So my cuts come out fairly straight, but then I just take a little file and just file it down until it is straight.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the best tool I ever bought. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, that saves a lot of time.
Oh, it does. It absolutely does. It absolutely does. And I think that's the biggest thing when you guys are out there, you know, out in the modeling community out there. And I'm sure, you know, most of you guys that are pretty experienced or have been around the block a couple of times on this, it's tools, tools, and tools.
Man, I love tools.
Yeah, yep. I mean, it makes a world of difference if you have the right tool. And I know the mother of necessity is, you know, you go out. I know I go to train shows. You know, I bypass the you know, the DCC Wow Sound booth and, you know, the plastic structure kits and the track, and I go right to the tool guy. There's a tool guy
at the Greenberg show.
Right. They go right to the tool guy, and you're like, oh yeah, you know, like let's get this, let's get that. So tools, you know, are an essential part of this, and I'm sure that if any of these gentlemen here scanned their workbench and just did a YouTube video on their workbench, because I mean, you can see Vinny when Vinny's doing his video. Standard operating procedure for SOP for Vinny is a pack of cigarettes, a can of Coke, and
don't forget the cigarettes.
Hey,
that's it. A can of Coke and his tools, and you see his bench, and he's ready to rock and roll. You know, same thing with Geno.
You can never have enough cross-lock tweezers either.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Vinny,
So,
have you ever glued yourself to your video camera?
No.
Oh, I'm just curious.
Almar Jr. asked, does the right way system work for kits?
What?
What now?
The right way system. I don't know what the right way system.
I think is that's one of those clamp systems.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it should. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I use I forget the name of the company, but it's like that. But they're metal clamps. They call them coffin clamps, and they keep walls all on a nice right angle, and they got a slot in the back where you can apply your glue to seal it in like a plastic joint or whatever. So yeah.
Mike, don't you use those?
I have one of those. I have
I
one.
don't.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry.
I have one of those, but I've only used it like twice.
I've used it for small structures. I don't have the big one. But the right way is a magnetic system, I think.
It takes a bit to learn the one that's got the screw clamps on it, but I think that magnetic one would probably be a lot easier, and I'm looking to get that in the future.
Yeah, that looks like a nice system. I keep looking at it at the shows.
And I'm sold on, and I think you guys have seen. I have in all my videos those 1, 2, 3 blocks, and believe it or not, I mean, you see them in the video. They don't seem like much, but they're really heavy, you know. And for holding up plastic or wood or anything like that, you can form up anything on your desktop or your workbench with these things. So I love these things.
A bunch of heavy weights are essential.
Yes. Yeah. What is that? A big block of steel?
Terry writes a nice question. Terry has a nice question. He says, have any of you worked in the construction field? He states, I've worked carpentry for 20 plus years, and I have used my skills to build frame structures and applied it to modeling. Any way you can use everyday Joe manuals to help you in your builds?
Yeah, I was a framer. I built houses. I built pole barns. I was a driver for Amish for about 2 years. I built stairs. I got out of carpentry because my eyes it was really hard for me to see the tape measure, which is the bane of most carpenters. You know when to retire when you can't see the tape measure. So yeah, that's how I got into the hobby, was my interest in building.
You got bad eyes, now you're building smaller models of the real thing.
Yeah, but I'm not stuck to a time frame now. I can take as long as I want.
Good point. Good point.
I'm just a general hobbyist. I work on everything. I have a picture up here of I love woodworking, and I made my boys both a nice chessboard. All kinds of different things with woodworking. And on my Facebook page, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, I have some pictures up there too of my hot rod. I'm into hot rods and into motorcycles, and you know, just a whole variety of things. So, and it all helps in this hobby, every bit of it. You learn different things that you use, like working on a motorcycle. I use Chem Tool. Chem Tool actually works in taking some things off of models and stuff. You'd be amazed. It melts plastic. It does all kinds of stuff. So,
just to give everybody a heads up again, the code again is N as in Nancy, Y as in you, C as in Charles, T as in Thomas, New York City Transit Authority, A as in Apple, NYCTA. NYCTA is the code.
I'm going to put that up on a quick screen share.
Yes, the Bob's, N-Scale, Man Cave, put it out there. NYCTA, all lowercase letters. Just think of the New York City Transit Authority. NYCTA.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
that's my layout plan. If anybody wants to see the other thing.
You've got.
Everybody's giving me such a hard time about not putting any videos together. I've been working on so many other things. This one's done by the track planner. I think he's on next month.
You've got room for that where you are?
I'm actually working on that now, trying to get it assembled. Yeah. And I got my street run scene like the city's edge here. And like
I see
Geno's,
that.
everybody
That
says,
looks good.
Everybody says, oh, you're doing a street scene like Geno. I said, well, I don't do it like Rex's.
Geno's started a phenomenon here.
You know what? Barry, can you put the link up again for it's www.youtubemodelbuilders.com.
Yeah, let me
Have it on time. Find it.
PowerPoint. There.
That's gonna look good, Mike.
I think so. I'm going to change it up a little bit. I got to get it more video and camera friendly. A little bit of changes here and there, and I think it'll be in good shape. And I'm making it all modular because I move so much.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, let me see if I can kind of pull.
I have it up on the screen share now.
Okay.
So go to www.youtubemodelbuilders.com. Click at the top where it says YouTube Model Builders Live. And when the little menu pops up, go to the bottom where it says Live Show Giveaway Entry Form. And again, the code is N as in Nancy, Y as in New York, C as in Charlie, T as in Thomas, A as in Alfred. All lowercase.
So guys, there's a question in the list, and it is from Train Freak. I've been building Craftsman kits for years. I have recently started using LEDs to light them up. What are your views on lighting your kits? Where do you get your LEDs?
China, baby.
China.
I get them off of eBay. Usually you can get like 4 rolls of this stuff for just dirt cheap. I think, don't you have something on that too, Geno? You have some showing some of these rolls of LEDs? Who is that? One of you guys have that.
No, that's Dave. Dave Vallejos has got some.
Oh, Dave.
Dave does that a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
You can get like a whole roll of this off of eBay for so cheap. And check Dave Vallejo's YouTube channel out. And he's on Hangouts a lot. You could certainly ask him a lot of questions about that. And those work so nice.
He's always got a hangout going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he does. Al Maher Jr. says, being new to weathering, is there something you can use that can be cleaned off if it doesn't work, if it's not right? Most of that stuff is that if you use weathering powders, can be wiped off clean with a damp rag and stuff.
Yeah. The acrylic paints are real user-friendly, too.
Q-tips and spray bottle. Just mist up what you screwed up and get in there with the Q-tip and start working around. If it hasn't dried or cured, you usually can still move stuff around and tone things down if it's too much. The other thing is when you add something to a model, it always looks a lot worse than what it will look like when it's dried.
This is true. Very true.
The colors
and something else too is the video. When you shoot a video, I've noticed that the color changes too. Like in real life, it looks different. So just some of the videos I've done, the paint looks a little different. So you have to, if you're going to put stuff in video or use it for photography, consider that, because some colors just don't come through right. Or that's totally unrelated. I thought I might share that.
Well, it's rare that I'll weather something for the first time on the finished model. If I'm modeling a forest green something, I'll paint a piece of board forest green and attack it like overly with weathering, and and challenge myself with what I'm supposed to see. So testing things out will help everybody in what they're modeling.
The Bob's from N-Scale Man Cave asks, I want to make retaining walls along the tracks and around the tunnel portals. If you use wood, plastic, or cardboard, what would you color it with to make it look weathered?
I used the khaki spray paint on mine, and it turned out real well.
Man, I love those camouflage colors. You can't go wrong with those camouflage colors, dang.
No, you can't.
If you're painting rock like a rock wall like that, you could paint it black and then come back and dry brush all the really all the edges that stick out, and you'll start to get a layered approach, and then you start just trying to match that color to the rocks that you're trying to paint. I like to paint limestone rocks, so I'm often using that Krylon paint, khaki.
Barry used a good approach in his tunnel. He lined it. What did you do? You lined
I
it?
used aluminum foil for my tunnel, like heavy-duty foil, and I crinkled it up and then gently spread it out. Then I just covered it with a granite-colored spray paint. And when it dried, then I weathered it, bragged in powders, and it came out pretty nice. Didn't Ed Traxler say something about like carving rocks and stuff for walls, stuff like that, out of like foam, and then painting, and then using washes to cover it?
Yeah. There's lots of YouTube videos for doing that. It's really messy. Actually, on my module, actually I'll lag out by screen sharing. I carved my brick wall into foam and painted it black with acrylics, and then dry brush. Well, and then I used a hot blade to cut the bricks in to the foam so that there's really deep. Painted them black and then dry brushed the top, and it looks great. You don't really have to go all out for this stuff because you're usually covering it with a little bit of shrubbery.
You're so right, Ron.
What did you do with that thing there, Geno?
You can present Geno, Barry. That would be great.
Yes, I just did.
Do what now?
Yeah. What did you do for your wall there, Geno?
I used that the camouflage khaki spray paint as my base color, and just came back with it with a alcohol and acrylic paint wash.
What material is
That's
that?
fantastic.
Do what now?
What did you make the wall out of?
It is it's a sheet styrene with brick paper on top of it.
Yeah, because if you try to spray paint with the rattle can foam, it'll probably attack the foam.
Yeah, no, it will attack the foam.
Yes.
That styrofoam stuff, yeah.
It'll ruin everything real quick, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you won't be a happy camper, that's for sure.
Here's a question that's been circulating around. We might as well get the chance that Matt May ask. I'm going to repaint and detail an HO scale UP 484. How do I strip the old paint off, and how do I prep it for repaint? It is a plastic model, and what glue do I use to attach detailed parts? And what color black do I need for passenger/freight steam logo?
Now, I just have a question. What kind of structure is 484? I'm totally lost.
I don't know, but it's been bouncing around. It's been bouncing around since the beginning of the show.
I'll give you a hard time, man.
Stripping the paint off of it may not be the best thing. Painting over top of it with a grimy black color, maybe, but I'm not a big steam guy. But the thing is, you got to be careful about these engines because you've got mechanical gears below. You don't want to get paint on them. You want to take the model apart and protect all these things, because all it takes is one act of impatience and
oh yeah, got that right.
Really take your time with it. But I like those engines when they're painted grimy black.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. It's a good color choice, because it's never a bright, shiny black. It's always dull and faded looking.
You can, if you want to take the shell off and strip it, now you can soak it in some 91% alcohol for a couple of days, and it will take the paint off of it.
Pine Sol does that too, but you also have to watch. I don't know about alcohol, but Pine Sol will soften that thing right up if you put it into.
Yeah, the alcohol, that's the nice thing. It doesn't attack the plastic.
No.
Hey, are you guys going to the Hangouts after the show? Ron, Geno, Vinny? They're going to have some after-show Hangouts. I don't know if you guys can make it or not.
Who's going to be hosting?
I'm going. I think Johnny's got one up now.
I get
Yeah, we'll try to go in there.
I get up
The
at
later
7
it gets, the uglier you
I'll be
get.
going to bed soon.
Oh,
All right. So
we're now at 10 after 12. If we want to go ahead and pick our winners.
why don't we do that, Barry? Why don't we go ahead and pick our winners?
All right. So, drum roll, please, Mr. Bill.
And what are we picking first?
Well, we have. I'm going to pull up the list. What the giveaway items are for this episode. Show you. So the first giveaway is the HO Scale Truss Bridge Kit.
Right.
Giveaway 2 is the Road Striping Kit. And giveaway 3 is the Birch Trees. Giveaway 4 is the Road to Rail Aggregate Transfer Building. And crew.
Okay, so who's our lucky winner for the bridge?
Pick winners here. All right. Let's see. Giveaway 1 is Mr. Rick Archer, A-R-T-E-R.
Okay.
And giveaway 2 is an N scale. It's Randy Tipton, T-I-P-T-O-N. He has won our Road Stripe kits. Giveaway 3 is an HO scale. The trees. It's Mr. John Murphy. And giveaway 4, the HO scale is the Road Transfer Building, is Stuart Ross.
R-O-S-S?
R-O-S-S.
Gentlemen, congratulations on winning
Absolutely.
the CV, the Central Valley Bridge to Rich Archer, the roadway striping to Randy Tipton, the trees to John Murphy, and to the Walters Cornerstone is Stuart Ross. If you gentlemen could be so kind as to email us your address and stuff, we can then pass it along to the manufacturers of this and get your prizes out there as soon as possible, hopefully by next week, depending on the weather. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you very, very much, all of you, for being on this show. Geno, Mike, Ron, Vinny, you guys, this was a really nice show to do, and it was exciting, and it was very informative, even though I couldn't pronounce 2 words on it. So, but it was good. And again, thank you so very, very much for being a participant. And we hope to have you back again on future shows. And what we're doing here at the YouTube Model Builders community is we're trying. Our mission is to set about to give you guys out there in the community a basis and information system that is free of charge, and that we want to share what we know and what we love to do, and that is the mission of YouTube Model Builders, the show and the website. And I can't help but enough to push the website that you guys should go, and if you're interested in contributing an article to the eMag, it would be greatly appreciated, and or being on a panelist on the show, we can discuss it, because, you know, just fill out the form, and it's greatly, greatly appreciated of all you guys for joining us tonight, and for all the viewers out there that submitted these questions, highly, very good questions, very informative, very intriguing, and really keeping us on our toes here on the panel. Next month's show is going to be a good one. Next month's show is it's going to be in March, and that one is going to have Bill Burnett, the track planner, on, as well as Vinny. Vinny's going to be on it as well next month. He's got a very detailed track plan of his own on. He's made some changes.
Vinny looks confused.
I am.
Probably here for the first time. But
This is the first time hearing about it.
yeah, well, we'd like you to be on the show, Vin. I'm sorry if I
Wait a minute. We need a military volunteer here by the name of Gomer Powell. Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Yeah, but I do apologize, Vinny. But we're gonna have Bill Burnett on the track planner, and hopefully we'll have Vinny on. Vinny will let us know whether he can make it or not for the March show. It should be a good show because both have a very good detail. They were looking for another a panelist on the show as well. So with that said, I want to thank you gentlemen again for your time, for your effort, for your expertise and your knowledge. And Barry, once again, brother, kudos to you.
You too, my friend.
Director, you're spot on, baby. And to my new associate producer, Jennifer Constantino, thank you so much, darling, for keeping me apprised of the giveaways and for helping me keep time here. You've been an asset to this, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. And with that said, we will bid you a fair farewell, and I'll see you guys on the radio. Take care.
I'll see you next Sunday, Bill.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Take care.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.
Happy Bill.